Wait a minute, what's something going on here? Hold on. Stop that. Where did the camera? Hello? 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 Where am I? That's very weird. I don't quite know where I went. But I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where, hold on. I don't know where I am, but that should be hidden. Yeah, we watch old 16mm films, and I spend my time trying to figure out software which is not behaving. Let me see. Let me do this. I'm gonna try this again. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here, and it's a starry field. But yeah. All right. Well, let's watch some films. Today's theme is tomorrow, and these are films that are about tomorrow. Enjoy. This is yeah. Enjoy. This featuring our old friend.
It is the twilight hour. A few birds hop after crumbs in the quiet street. The schoolboys end their games and run home for supper. It is a peaceful hour.
Effendi, Hamid has hung himself.
No, Burhan. Look closely. He is playing a trick. Hamid's sense of humor is almost as distorted as his sense of justice.
What a horrible sight.
Hamid is showing the boys what happened to officials of a country that rebelled against being a satellite to a great foreign power. The leaders of the rebellion were ruthlessly hung.
A fate no less than they deserved, Effendi. They had broken the peace of their country.
Deserved? You and your comrades disturbed the peace of our country every day. If the members of your party were so much as put in jail for every riot or act of violence they got involved in, they would never see their homes.
Jail? That would be persecution. The end of political freedom. The end of justice.
Justice? Freedom? You make a mockery of those words, Hamid. You want them to mean one thing when they apply to you and your comrades, and something completely different when they apply to the men who were hung or anybody else opposed to what your party believes in. How foolish.
That is your opinion, Effendi.
My opinion? Oh, no. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of a story about Nasruddin Hoxha, whose wisdom has come down to us over 500 years and cannot be so easily dismissed. It shows how foolish men are who cannot live by the rules they set for others. The story is called Tomorrow May Be Judgment Day. There was a time in the life of Nasruddin Hoxha when he was quite lonely. His first wife had died, and his house was empty. Empty except for one small, white and woolly pet who lightened many of the lonely hours.
Ma.
One night as he petted his little companion and gazed up at the star-filled sky, the Hoxha told some visitors,
I remember that my mother said I was born under the sign of the Lamb. Nonsense, Hoxha!
A lamb is not a constellation.
You must mean the ram. Well, it is 40 years since Mother cast my horoscope. Surely that is enough time for a lamb to grow into a ram.
Now at this moment, Nasruddin Hoxha was not the only one with a lamb on his mind. Two villagers thought the lamb pretty as a picture, although the Hoxha didn't know how they were picturing the lamb. One way or another, they were determined to have a feast with that lamb. Their plot began with the Hoxha's superstitions about the stars.
Hoxha, the dust of a star fell on me today. That means the world is coming to an end tomorrow or the next day.
At first, the Hoxha scoffed at what he heard, but the two jokers were very clever.
And if water should fall from the sky tonight when there are no clouds, it will be a sure sign. There. It's a sure sign. The world is coming to an end. Hoxha, we cannot say goodbye without a farewell feast. Tomorrow, let us roast your lamb and have one last outing together in the countryside.
And so into the night, the two jokers worked on the Hoxha to agree to roast his lamb for a farewell dinner.
Because we gotta sell you this thing, and there's no way to but out or anything about it, because we gotta do this thing now. And I want you very much, Nasruddin. I want you to...
Nasruddin became exhausted as the hours grew later, but the arguments to convince him that the end of the world was at hand never stopped.
Very much, Nasruddin. I want you to do this for me now. Out or anything about it, because we gotta do this thing now.
By the next afternoon, the Hoxha's pet was roasting over an open fire. The two villagers who had tricked Nasruddin took off their best cloaks and turbans and went to play games until the lamb should be done to a turn. For the first time since they had started to work on him the night before, Nasruddin Hoxha was left alone to collect his thoughts. He looked up to see the sun shining brightly as ever. He knelt to feel the earth, warm, rich, and fertile. He heard the songs of birds, never sweeter than on this day, and smelled the green perfume of the countryside. Mixed with the steam of roast lamb, the juice of his pet tasted bitter to him. After a while, the two villagers, hungry for dinner, came back from their play, only to see their best clothes smoldering in the fire.
Hocha! Who did this? How did this terrible thing happen?
Now it was the Hocha's turn to be very calm. Why, my lads, what a fuss you are making. Tomorrow may be the end of the world, remember? What will you do with your fine clothes then? There are some people today, Hamid, who don't want to live by the standards they set for others. Like you think little of a man being hung for opposing what your party believes in, but cry persecution if anyone tries to control your own disturbing of the peace. As the Hocha taught Burhan, we have to beware of those among us who have such double standards for what is right and just. For whether or not tomorrow may be Judgment Day, today we must all try to live together in peace.
Wow, this is so weird. Like, it is not something crapped out. And again, this crapped out just before the show started, so it's very frustrating. I'll figure out a way to make this work. Anyhow, let's learn about tomorrow's railroads today. Enjoy.
Heavier trains, better trains. Moving the nation's freight with efficiency that would have seemed fantastically impossible a few decades ago. Ton miles per train hour are heavier trains, better trains. Moving the nation's freight with efficiency that would have seemed fantastically impossible a few decades ago. Ton miles per train hour are now more than double that of only 20 years ago. Yet these trains are being handled with greater safety and are meeting the exacting requirements of modern industry and commerce for the lowest cost railroad transportation service in the world. Automation, the wizardry of modern electronics, much of it pioneered on the railroads, furnishes part of the answer. Yesterday, 25 miles an hour, 4, 6 trains a day, or maybe even less. An unhurried run, but adequate to supply the more leisurely tempo of our economy. The working tools, a watch, a timetable, and a handful of train orders, together with a good pair of eyes to watch for smoke on the track ahead. Yesterday. A strong back to throw the levers. That's all you needed in the switch tower, too. What if the equipment was heavy and cumbersome? What if it was slow, time-consuming? We had time yesterday. Not so today. Time, speed, density of traffic are the essence of successful railroad operation. With 880 billion ton miles predicted for 1965, a 40% increase over the present, railroads are preparing today for tomorrow. Tronics are pointing the way to that future. Let's take one particular kind of magic, the magic that is spelled CTC. Centralized Traffic Control. The modern system of railroad operation in which the movements of all trains for hundreds of miles are governed electronically from a single control point. As individually engineered by union switch and signal to fit any set of traffic conditions, CTC does away completely with the train order and timetable method of yesterday.
All right, so I'm having some problems here. I'm sorry. Let me get back. I would go back to OBS, but everything is all messed up. So let's do this. Let me jump ahead to tomorrow's transit today.
The San Francisco Bay Area is one of America's most treasured cultural and commercial centers. San Francisco, the area's largest city, is the golden gateway to the Orient and a bittersweet blending of cultures. It is Fisherman's Wharf, a paradise for artists, and a mecca for gourmets. It is cable cars, fog, a dramatic joining of the old and the new. One of the truly magical cities of the world. Like many other places all across the continent, the Bay Area has much to preserve and some things to worry about. One of these is a serious and growing traffic problem. But the Bay Area traffic problem is being solved, and in a way that does not destroy what the people want to keep. The answer? A coordinated transportation system. This coordinated system will have outlying parking, feeder buses, and rail rapid transit as in Cleveland, each doing what it does best to get people easiest to where they want to go. The rail transit will run in the open, as in Boston and Toronto. It will run down the center mall of expressways, as in Chicago. It will go underground, as in Philadelphia and in New York. From Richmond to Fremont, from Daly City to Concord, the transit system will get people where they want to go much faster and more conveniently than they can get there now. From downtown Oakland to downtown San Francisco in 8 minutes. The trip by auto today takes anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. And the University of California at Berkeley will be easy for students to get to from anywhere in the Bay Area. Near Mount Diablo, manufacturers, including General Electric, have demonstrated concepts and equipment that offer Bay Area residents tomorrow's transit today. The test project has been sponsored jointly by the Bay Area Rapid Transit District and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. When the transit system is completed, passengers will ride a new car that will cruise smoothly at speeds up to 80 miles per hour. And during rush hours, there'll be a train every 90 seconds. The cars will be bright and air-conditioned and comfortable. Riding will be pleasant. But the new cars are only one part of an entirely new and advanced transit system. Other parts were demonstrated on laboratory cars operating to test competing automatic train control systems. The General Electric system is built around a speed distance regulator on each train. Wayside transmitters send continuous speed and station stop commands by carrier current over conductors along the wayside. The speed distance regulator on the passing train receives these signals and runs the train accordingly. With the regulator on the train and the wayside transmitter in constant communication, all decisions about how to run the train are made on the train itself, under conditions affecting that train at any given moment. In this way, passengers on the Bay Area system will know that their own train is taking care of their safety, and that their own train at every moment is giving them its own very best performance. The regulator on the train is connected to a General Electric propulsion control and tells the control what speed adjustments to make. The propulsion control then makes the General Electric traction motors increase or decrease the speed of the train. Speeding up and slowing down are always done as rapidly as passenger comfort and best equipment performance allow. Station stops are handled in much the same way. At a safe distance from the stop, the speed distance regulator receives a station stop signal from a wayside carrier current transmitter. The regulator decides the best way to stop and the moment to apply brakes, tells the propulsion control, and the car stops within inches of a pre-selected point. To allow for such conditions as wet rails or variations in wheel diameter, intermediate checkpoints along the rails and a reader on the train give the regulator additional information to improve accuracy so that the car will stop where it's supposed to stop. An important feature of this General Electric system is that when it receives a station stop signal, it does not always begin slowing the train immediately. Instead, it continues to run the train at maximum safe speed and then stops the train as rapidly as passenger comfort and operating conditions allow. This feature will save time for the passengers as well as money for the Bay Area Rapid Transit District. A second element of the General Electric system is control of the distance between trains. This is done by guided radar. The lead car in each train is equipped with a radar transmitter and receiver. Signals to and from this equipment are transmitted up the track along a waveguide which bends the radar around curves. When the radar signal from a following train strikes a reflector on the train ahead, the signal bounces back to the following receiver, and the time it takes the signal to make the trip represents the distance between trains. The speed distance regulator on each train responds to the radar signal and always maintains a safe distance from the train ahead. The radar system has priority. The train will not go faster than a safe distance between trains permits. If there is no radar signal, the train stops. In a conventional block system, a following train is told only in a general way where a train on the track ahead might be, and it may proceed more slowly than is necessary. By contrast, in General Electric's moving block radar system, since any train always knows how fast it's going and exactly how far it is from the train ahead, it also knows exactly how close it can follow with safety. The system is simple, it's positive, it's separate and has priority over other systems. It makes use of full train performance. And it's fail-safe for maximum passenger safety. The final element in the General Electric automatic train control package is system regulation from a computer. The job of this part of the system is to make management decisions and to communicate these decisions to the stations and to the trains. General Electric does this through integrated process control equipment, which consists of a GPAC 4000 process computer, a Direct-O-Matic 2 control, and associated communications equipment. This equipment represents advanced high-performance technology. It is all General Electric, and it is all made to work together. The kinds of decisions made are those vital to keeping the entire complex of trains and stations running efficiently. This overall supervision adds trains or takes them off the line, depending on traffic needs. It changes the number of cars per train. The computer also monitors the performance of each train to keep trains from bunching. If a train is late, the computer instructs the onboard regulator to speed up on the next run. If a train is early, it is told to slow down. Without this central control, the trains would continue to run, but at a reduced overall level of performance. General Electric equipment applies over the entire range of rapid transit automation needs, from central computers and communication equipment, to wayside equipment, to onboard regulators, to propulsion controls, and the electric motors that make the trains run. It even extends to automatic fare collection, being developed and tested at Somersworth, New Hampshire. In this system, passengers will get their plastic tickets from a vending machine which dispenses either a one-ride trip ticket or a 20-ride commuter ticket. Ticket prices will be graduated according to distance traveled. Passenger gate machines will be used for both entry and exit. The machine will encode each ticket with entrance station and time. When passengers exit, the machine will determine the fare due and compare it with the fare paid before permitting exit. Tomorrow's transit is being offered today at the Diablo test track. To the Bay Area residents, the new system will mean getting where they want to go swiftly and safely, and in cool, quiet comfort. To the transit district that operates the system, General Electric's automatic train control has additional meanings. To them, it means greater safety, because automatic train control helps reduce the effects of human error. It means better scheduling, closer and at higher speeds, because automatic equipment eliminates many time allowances needed under manual control. It means more service per car, because of improved schedule speed. It means less maintenance, because the equipment is operated better. And overall, it can mean up to 25% less power consumption, which means a much lower power bill. But the real beneficiary of this automated rapid transit system is the Bay Area itself. Residents who use the system expect to save more on their auto insurance alone than the rapid transit will cost them in increased property taxes. They will be able to get to work and home again faster and much, much easier. Buildings and property values are expected to go up along the right-of-way as they have in Toronto and other cities. And the area anticipates 100,000 new jobs and paychecks. The center city will be better able to preserve what it wants to preserve. People will be able to lead fuller, happier lives with a transportation system that lets them get about easier and faster and gives them more time to do what they want to do. If a coordinated transportation system built around rapid transit is worth doing in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's worth doing in other cities that want to enjoy similar advantages. With the concepts and equipment General Electric has demonstrated in the Bay Area, any city can have tomorrow's transit today.
Stage. All right, can you hear me? Okay. Man. All right. So we're going to be done with this. I'm already committed to this show and using this software, but there's so many problems with this software and how it's working. So that image was created by Old Radios, and after I did my April Fool's Stapler Geek show. So I'm happy to reuse it, although I'm unhappy that the webcam just is not being recognized by this software, this Restream software. And so this will be probably the last time I use it. In the meantime, here is a film by the Ethel Corporation. And the Ethel Corporation, of course, created this additive for gasoline. And they were also a gasoline company themselves. but they created this anti-knock additive, which was basically lead, and it helped early gas engines run smoothly. And it also introduced lead to lots of places that it should not have been introduced, and we're still kind of dealing with that. But this film features Darren McGavin, who is a wonderful person. You know what? I should just be doing this while we're taking advantage of this. Anyways, Darren McGavin, who you might remember from Kolchak the Night Stalker or the dad from The Christmas Story, he shows up in this film. So here's Pick Your Tomorrow. Enjoy.
Sure can pick 'em. But how long are we going to have to wait for George?
He just said to wait until he came. Well, I'm starved.
Who isn't? He said lunch, not a midnight snack. Anyway, why should it take so long to accept a job? You just walk in, say, yes, sir, I'll take it.
What job is George going to take then? I don't know.
You mean he didn't tell you?
Uh-uh.
I don't get the big mystery.
Maybe he's got something sensational, wants to surprise us.
Could be. You know, that character could have his choice of almost any job in town. I introduced him to Mr. Harrison at the bank. Mr. Harrison liked him.
I can understand.
You can understand what?
Hi.
She can understand you kept us gnawing at the bit for half an hour.
I'm sorry. I got to talking and...
Well?
Well, let's order first, huh?
Order? Look. You called us together like the last page of a paper-bound murder mystery, so now give.
George, please.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to work for Mr. Sloan.
In a gas station?
No, it's not a gas station. It's a service station.
Well, I guess if this is what you want, there must be something to it.
Oh, there is, Beth. Well, there's plenty to it. At least for me.
I don't get it. You made such a big thing looking around for a job. You took such a long time making up your mind.
Well, I wanted to be sure.
How do you know until you try?
Well, look, Dick, you choose a bank, okay? Maybe you'll try it and you'll find out it's right for you. But, well, I didn't know, and I didn't want to spend 10 years finding out I might be wrong. I wanted to find out now, and, well, look, here's what I did. Well, you see, I'm like most guys. I'm wondering all the time where I'm going, you know? Well, I got to thinking, and I suddenly figured that the first thing I should do is find out about myself. So I made up a kind of checklist. I knew what I liked. I liked people, cars, and variety, outside. Well, if I could help it, I knew I didn't want a routine-type job. Well, I don't know, when I began to think about it more, I felt I wanted a job where I could stand on my own 2 feet. I never knew what I wanted before, and I'd never even thought about what I had to bring to a job, what I had to offer. You know, school, training, experience, brains and personality, physical ability, things like that. Well, I started wondering what kind of a job I'd be a success at, and well, what kind of things I would need from a job to be satisfied. Well, look, I made up a kind of list.
Independence, initiative, variety.
Independence? It sounds like the 4th of July.
Oh, stop. George must have had some reason for writing it. Didn't you, George?
Well, sure. Well, first, I wanted a job to give me some chance to think for myself. And I didn't want it to follow too many routines. Well, I wanted the challenge that came when you had to work things out on the spot.
Okay, Professor. Next chapter. Type of work. Outside with people.
Well, I like people. I like meeting them. Besides, I wanted to work outside, too. I realized I like to get some physical kick out of the work I do. Well, I feel better that way. I'm more my own guy. I wrote down income next because, well, I think it's important for a guy to have some idea of where the job will start and just how far it's going. Last, well, I wanted a job to be steady. A job I could grow with. A job that would let me learn so that maybe someday I could have my own business.
You like it outside. I'm more the indoors type.
Well, I think it's important for a guy to have some idea, well, if he can get a raise within a reasonable length of time. Well, just how far he can go in the business.
Springboard to my own business. What about that?
Oh, don't you want your own business?
Yeah. No. I don't know yet.
I guess everybody's different.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, for me, I had to find something that would satisfy all these things on my checklist.
So?
So I looked around at what was available. But first, I decided I'd have to have some way of measuring each job I looked at in terms of me. So I made up a scorecard. I made up a system with a top of 10 points for each section, based strictly on what it meant to me. When I was going to score each section, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, score each job I saw, depending on how many things it satisfied on my checklist. Then I went out to look over the town.
Well, I like it here, George. Bank's a pretty secure place to work, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, could you tell me how long you've been here, Mr. Harrison?
Well, let's see. Including time out for the Navy, I guess it was about 7 years. Started behind a window, worked my way up. Takes time, George, like everything else.
Well, I suppose there's a kind of a routine working in a bank.
Sure, there is, but you get used to it. Me, I like routine. And you've got to have a carefully planned routine in order to take care of other people's money. They trust you with it. There's a responsibility, George, in working for a bank.
When you're out looking for your future, you got to do a lot of listening and a lot of adding up. Well, I figured a bank was too much of a routine thing. So to me, this was worth about 4 points. Bank was inside. I wanted outside. Well, starting salary was as good as any place in town. Could get raises, not too fast, but they were there. Security? Well, sure. But it wouldn't give me much of a springboard to my own business. You could advance, you could get training. And there was a future way out in front of you. But it missed in only one spot for me, so I rated it another 8. Then I went over to the factory, talked to the personnel manager, filled out forms, took a good hard look at what my future might be there. Judgment, sure. I guess so with the new machines you've got to work with. People, well, you got to work with them, get along, but, well, that's not the kick I wanted with people. Well, the factory was certainly no springboard to my own business. I couldn't see my future there too well. So I rated the factory 2, 4, 7, and 3. I talked to a lot of people and a lot of stores, too. It's a chance to think for yourself when you sell. It's a lot of variety. It's a challenge. So I gave it a 10. But the work was inside again. There was no physical satisfaction. You could meet people, sure, and help them solve their problems. A 5. I gave it a 4 here because the salary's not too bad to start, and you could get raises or commissions. Now, the work in a store is steady. It could act as a springboard to my own business, and there's not a bad future there. I scored an 8 with it.
So don't tell me. Obviously, the service station scored highest for you. But I don't get it. A service station's a service station. It's just a job, George.
No. For me, it's the best job.
Oh, come on.
Well, all right. How do you think of a service station?
It's dirty. You get full of grease and oil. It gets in your hair.
Okay. Sure. It's dirty and it's tough. And you work long hours. But it's important. I'd been looking at this place all my life. Well, I'd never really seen it before because I'd never looked at it before in terms of myself. of my future. You know, it's a pretty solid part of everybody's life. That's why it's important. To me, this means there's security in it. It's a business, sure, but it's necessary to the people in town and the community.
Come on in, George. Well, now, like I said outside, you take this application form home, and here it is. And you look it over, and then if you want it, you fill it out and bring it back.
Sure, Mr. Sloan.
What's the matter? You surprised that I run my station like a business? Huh? If I got it nowadays, it would fall flat on my face.
I guess so.
Sit down, George, sit down. Tell me, what do you know about a service station?
Oh, sells gasoline, oil, tires, service cars.
Mm-hmm. What do you see when you drive into a station? What do you think the guys do?
They clean the windshield, they check the oil, pump gas.
Mm-hmm. Look at the battery, check the water. That about does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Service and selling with a smile, huh?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what people see, all right. But, George, did you ever notice a little thing the service station guy does? The way he digs around getting his hands dirty so he can keep this car running? Hmm? The way he keeps his fingertips all tuned up and his eyes and his ears so he can spot trouble, rough spots. So he can make the most expensive item that people own run better, work better, give them more enjoyment. Did you ever think about that?
Oh, I guess those are the things you don't much think about.
Yeah, those and a few dozen other things that make the service station business tick. Like bookkeeping and housekeeping, selling. You ever do much selling, George?
Well, I worked a couple of summers at Hanson's. Yeah, I like people. I like talking to them, you know?
Sure. Gives you a good feeling. Happens every day, right outside, right there. Tell me, George, did you work long hours at Hanson's, this grocery store?
Well, regular hours, I guess. Days, you know, 9 to 5.
You mind long hours, George?
Not if I like what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Mind getting your hands dirty?
I never thought about it before.
Yeah. Well, George, I think there's a few things you ought to know about the service station business. Come on, you follow me and I'll take you out.
He showed me, all right. He gave me the $10 tool with no soft soaping. Well, the job's not easy, and you get dirty, but, well, as Sloan pointed out, it's, well, you make a car run better, or you fix something that maybe saves somebody's life. Well, you get your hands into something here, and you feel good at night when you go home, because you're working all the time with a valuable piece of another person's property. And you've got to know all about it. The way a doctor knows about the insides of a person's body. Doctor gets his hands dirty, too. There's a kind of a creative part of the service station business I never thought about before because, well, you have to learn to feel and smell and hear trouble before it starts. Your knowledge is always changing. Your mind's always jumping and growing because the models change and improve every year. And he didn't kid me about the routine things. They're there, too, just like they were in every place I'd looked, every single job. Well, this wasn't a job for anybody who was afraid of a little tough, dirty work. He had a lot of pride in what he sold, too. He felt that gasoline is one of today's biggest bargains. He said that the companies are always improving it, so it's 50% better now than it was 30 years or so ago, and the price is almost the same, too, except for what taxes have added. But it wasn't until I watched him work with people, with his customers, that I began to get a feeling of what the service station business added up to for him. Here was a guy who was happy inside. You could see it, the way he greeted people, smiled, and talked. Well, people thought something of him. Boy, I saw that people were important in this job. Knowing them, liking them, meeting them on a good professional basis. I don't know, you use your knowledge, your brains, to be alert, to find trouble, to prevent it. It's important. And you're outside. You're figuring things out for yourself. You're standing on your own 2 feet. just watching this guy and his job, I began to get a little excited. This man, working in his service station with all his knowledge, his attitude, well, this man was just as professional as a doctor or a lawyer or a ball player or anybody else. I'd certainly be thinking for myself on this job. Be a lot of variety, too. It's outside, working with your hands and people. Well, I'd seen it with Sloan. But along with what I liked, there was the dirt and the tough work, so... income. Well, he told me the starting wage, and it was up there with the top ones in town. Getting raises depended on how I improved, but Sloan told me he liked to give them. Well, I did what I did with the other jobs. Security? I didn't know. To the average person, a service station doesn't seem to have any future. Well, I filled out my application anyway. Up to this point, I was interested, but I wasn't sure.
Well, I need somebody, George, but I want to look this over a little more carefully, and then I suppose you want to think about it some more, too.
Yes, I would.
I was looking for good men at service station, George. Men who are going to be steady, solid. I don't want you to think it's going to be easy.
Oh, I know, Mr. Sloan.
Okay.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you one or two questions.
Oh, sure, George. Go ahead, shoot.
Well, I've got to think about my future. Not tomorrow or next week or even next year, but...
Sure, George. I know. I was your age. There were certain things I wanted out of a job, certain things I felt good doing. So I went to work for somebody else, like you're going to do. I went to work in a service station. Well, I met a lot of people, watched them come and go, learned, studied, worked hard while doing it. Didn't think anybody was watching me. Well, sir, one day, a couple of years later, a man named Mr. Juergens, a man from the oil company who supplied our products, came to see me. And he said, Bob, we're going to open up a new station. How would you like to take it over? Well, sir, I thought he was kidding, you know. I mean, where would I get enough money to buy my own station?
I suppose you could borrow it from a bank, couldn't you?
Well, I needed a little more than I had then, or what I could have borrowed. But the oil company backed me up, and here I've been ever since. Got a nice house, home, family. Of course, there were a lot of things I didn't know when I was working as an attendant. A lot of things that I had to learn to know how to run my own business. I had to learn about taxes and credit. They were whole new things to me. I had to learn how to get people to come into my station, how to merchandise. And then, as a businessman, I found that I had certain responsibilities to the community. I had to be a good business citizen. So I had to learn about public relations. And then I had to set up my books, organize my business in a professional way.
Hey, where do you learn all that?
A lot depends on yourself, of course. But the oil company backs you up there, too. They give courses. They teach you business management, how to be a good supervisor. You kind of learn while you work. You grow with the job and with the people in the business community and the clubs you join.
Well, that makes sense to me, but doesn't...
Oh, sure, George. What I'm talking about applies to any business. But the important thing is that here, right here, I'm doing all these things myself, for myself. And I got to know them all myself, too, not just a part of it. You ask about a future. Well, I don't know about you, but I got one. A lot of other people get it with a service station, too. You grow with it. You grow into it. You grow as big as you want to get and as fast as you want to go.
Well, there it was. When I added up all the scores, the service station came out on top. For me, it was the greatest. It satisfied practically everything I wanted from a job.
Sure, for you, fine, great. For me, But don't worry, in 20 years, I'll have my chauffeur bring all my cars to you. let you take care of all of them.
For some reason, I feel real proud, and I haven't done anything.
Hey, since your boyfriend's going to be so successful, what say he buys lunch for all?
Oh, sure.
Oh, no, I'll treat.
Now, wait a minute, Beth.
No, I'll buy lunch. I want to. George has got to start saving for his own service station. Don't you?
So can you actually hear me? Yes. All right. Yeah, the camera just is not working here. But what's interesting is this is the second film I've run across where someone makes an important life decision, and that is working at a gas station. There's another film called Crossroads USA where a guy ends up working at a gas station, and it's super dramatic, and it actually involves, like, there's a holdup and all this stuff. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. So Restream, your live studio software, is kind of garbage, and it bums me out. And so we're gonna go back to using OBS next week. But in the meantime, please support us by going hitting the like button or the subscribe button or the thumbs up button. You can also support us on Patreon. You can also buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also, we have a store where we sell DVDs, DVD compilations. And if you go to that QR code, you can do it there. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in today. Very much appreciate your eyeballs. And as Michael Landon says, remember to love each other and to listen to each other, because it's important. Yeah, we will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Take care.